Everyone, welcome to the show. So, the real world consequences of Donald Trump's ignorant policies are catching up with him. They have begun. Some MAGA hosts, though, are claiming this is all part of the plan. This is good for you guys. This pain is good for all of us. So, I'm going to share all those details with you. But here's the deal. On Sunday, after stock futures took another nosedive, which they did again today, Trump supporter and hedge fund manager Bill Ackman came out. He posted on Twitter. This is a huge Trump humper. So this is not someone who is against Trump. And he was begging Trump to enact a 90-day, basically, a timeout on these tariffs. He warned if Trump doesn't do that, if he does not course correct, quote, we are heading for a self-induced economic nuclear winter, and we should start hunkering down. Trump, though, today he did the complete opposite. So you guys may have heard he threatened to increase the tariffs on China. He threatened to take them to 100%. And he totally poo-pooed any talk of a 90-day pause. Because once Ackman came out with this, people started asking, oh, maybe this is Trump, what Trump is going to do. And they started reaching out to him and some of his aides. And they're like, no, we're not doing a 90-day pause. Everything is going into effect on the 9th, which is 2 days from now. So they said fake news. So that tanked the market even further. Things had started to rally a little bit on the news of maybe a 90-day pause. And then as soon as they said that, everything just fell off a cliff again. And there's already, even before this, there was a domino effect in the economy because after Trump had announced his tariffs last Wednesday, Nissan made their own announcement. They said, oh, well, we're going to be halting production of vehicles in Mexico. Now, that may sound positive, but it's not, because in actuality, it appears that they're halting that production because sales are going to be dropping. And Nissan also announced we're also scaling back production in the state of Georgia, here in the US. And so they're only going to have one shift available for workers in their Smyrna, Georgia plant. And then Stellantis Automaker, they also announced they're pausing production at an assembly plant, both of their assembly plants, I should say, in Mexico and Canada. But they're also laying off 900 workers at 5 different U.S. facilities. So yeah, they're cutting production off in other countries, but it's still affecting workers here in the U.S. Now, under the terms of the Stellantis union contract, luckily, the employees won't lose their income immediately. But if the layoff lasts for longer than they're anticipating, if the tariffs remain in effect longer than they're anticipating, then yeah, the workers are eventually going to get cut off. They will lose their income. And Stellantis is also temporarily, like for a couple weeks here and a couple weeks there, they're going to be halting work at several different US plants. And they said that will effectively, or that will affect, I should say, approximately 4,500 workers. So their work is going to be temporarily halted at various different locations. And so, this is going to put pressure on the prices, because when you have less supply to meet the demand, then guess what? The prices go up. And U.S. Congressman Ro Khanna had laid out a list of all the various layoffs throughout the country. And it was a huge list, and they affect as few as 6 workers at some of these locations, not car companies, but all different types of segments of commerce. And the highest one was 433 employees that were being laid off out of business. I believe that was at a chicken processing factory, which, not exactly unhappy about that. But anyway, this all comes, as you guys all know, when more than 275,000 people lost their jobs in the month of March. So just last month, 200 over 275,000. And that, as you would have imagined, that was due in large part to Trump and Elon Musk gutting the federal workforce. It was one of the biggest upticks, they said, in unemployment or unemployment filings since the COVID pandemic. So even though there were 228,000 jobs added to the labor market last month, unemployment ticked up. It increased slightly to 4.2%. So they're laying off more people than the jobs that we're adding. But according to some Trump humpers, as I said, this is all for the best. This is a good thing. So MAGA YouTuber Benny Johnson, he posted this on Twitter, quote, "Losing money costs you nothing. It builds character." Really? No, losing money literally costs you money. And then he went on this long rant on his show, which I'm assuming this is where his tweet came from. And he claimed, oh, this is just the way things go. He literally said, everyone loses money. And he said, oh, well, how much money did you lose when you were young and dumb? Oh, you mean when you have time to recover from losing money? And let me remind you who Benny Johnson is. I don't know if you guys remember, but I did a show, I think it was last year at this point, where it was found that there were a bunch of these YouTubers and podcasters, right wingers, who were accepting a shit ton of money from a company that hired them. And they were producing this right wing content. And that company was receiving funding from a Russian who was pretending to be a US businessman. So they're paid very well to push out this propaganda. So, yeah, I don't think Benny is going to really struggle during the Trump session, not with his wealthy backers. Another Trump humper who won't suffer is wealthy Fox host Jeanine Pirro. So here's what she had to say about this devastation of Trump's tariffs.
And this is what Donald Trump ran on, and he's delivering. And you know what? I don't really care about my 401k today. You know what? Not that I can afford it, not that it isn't important, not that I'm not at a point in my life when I should be worried about my 401k, because I am. But this is what I believe. I believe in this man.
So isn't that nice for her? Isn't that nice for Jeanine to not have to worry about her 401k? These people are such elitists. They're so completely out of touch with how average Americans live paycheck to paycheck and retirement check to retirement check. And then Trump's Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, he went on NBC's Meet the Press over the weekend. And he was asked, Kristen Welker asked him about retired Americans who are watching their lifetime savings drop. And he actually said to her, quote, "I think that's a false narrative. Americans who want to retire right now, Americans who have put away for years in their savings accounts, I think they don't look at the day-to-day fluctuations of what's happening." Yeah. No, you don't look at your daily fluctuations, you rich elitist prick, because you will be fine. No matter what Trump does, no matter how much carnage he brings to this country through his reign of terror, you, Scott Bessent, will be fine. So you don't have to worry about it on a day-to-day basis. This is like when Trump's Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, had recently said, oh, well, my mother-in-law, she didn't get a Social Security check one month. She wouldn't worry about it. She would just say, oh, well, there must have been a mistake. I guess I'll get one next month. They are clueless. They have no idea that for some seniors, this literally is a matter of life and death. If that is their only source of income, how are they going to eat? How are they going to afford their medications? No one in Donald Trump's billionaire cabinet has ever known what it's like to struggle in their miserable, pampered lives. If they do, they've long forgotten it. They forgot all about those lessons. One Trump voter, though, kind of a higher profile voter who was not born with a silver spoon up his ass, is Dave Portnoy. He's the founder of Barstool Sports. So he's uber wealthy now, but he wasn't born wealthy. And he is not happy about watching his money evaporate because of Trump's ignorance. So check out what he said in this is just a small segment of a video that he posted this past week.
I almost tweeted out, Dave, how much are you down right now in today? 7 million. I'm down 7 million bucks in stocks and crypto. And it's tariff city. Trump has put his tariffs all over the place. I've been trying to understand them. I don't. Like, it's more a trade deficit tariff to me. Like, hey, we get this much shit from you and you get this much from us. Let's even that up. Let's get some wacky formula and do tariffs. And everything's in the shitter because of it.
And other Trump supporters have stepped up to stop this madness. So don't think though this is because they're such good people, they really care about the average American. No, they're doing it because they're greedy. A right-wing group that is tied to the Koch network and also the Federalist Society, they filed a lawsuit against Trump's unilateral implementation of these tariffs. And they're rightfully arguing that his use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act is to, quote unquote, usurp Congress and their control over the U.S. tariffs. They're saying it's unconstitutional. And they're very right. So for those who don't know, Trump is using that act and that excuse, I should say the excuse that we have an opioid crisis in the United States that's why he has to use this act. And he's sidelining Congress and single-handedly issuing these tariff guidelines because Congress is they are the body that is supposed to control tariffs. So in this lawsuit, the plaintiff said in part, quote, Congress has sole authority to control tariffs, which it has done by passing detailed tariff statutes. The president cannot bypass those statutes by invoking emergency authority in another statute that does not mention tariffs. In its nearly 50-year history, no other president, including President Trump in his first term, has ever tried to use the IEEPA to impose tariffs. I mean, if only someone had warned them, right? If only someone had warned them that this is going to be different than Trump's first term because, number one, the Supreme Court just gave him a blank check, essentially. They told him, commit whatever crimes you want. And because you're president, we say that it's okay. We are giving you immunity from anything that you do as president. Also, they hold all levers of power. So Trump knows his Republican stooges in the House and the Senate are not going to impeach and remove him. And he knows he controls the judicial branch. He controls the FBI, and he controls the CIA, the military. He controls everything. He controls, the Attorney General of the United States. They're all his minions. So they are not going to stand in his way. And if he tells them, tell the courts to pound sand, that's what they're going to do. These are all his loyalists. So, gosh, if only someone had warned them about that and how much he would push and get away with during this term. All right, guys, I will definitely be keeping an eye on all this. I have another video today that talks about more issues with the tariffs and polling on all of this and so forth. So anyway, check those out. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like this video. Please share it with others. That is a very easy, free way to help the show grow, to get more eyeballs on the information. Also, if you can become a subscriber, which you all can, you just have to click on the button below this video on YouTube and you will be a subscriber for free. That also helps. And if you can donate, truly appreciate it. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.